All right, today we're going to be listening to Meathook from Doom Eternal. I am so excited to hear more Doom. I've been loving all of the tracks that I've heard, so let's get right into it. This is so like growly. It's so in your face. There's some really cool little clicks as well, which feel like a sound design element. Those they almost sound like something that would be like UI, user interface noises. I remember designing things like this when I was in school because I also studied sound design, and I'll try to point it out. That little, like, it's so robotic, and it's such a nice texture. There's so many additions like that in the Doom scores. Here it is again. And I think it's important. It's such a cool element to writing this kind of music because obviously everything sits so far in the bass. And so figuring out how to fill up, when you're writing, you're often thinking about how to fill up the sonic space, like pitch wise. So basically you have this low end that's always going to be sitting here for something like Doom Eternal, but then, or for something that, is this heavy for this kind of game. But you want to figure out how to fill in these high sounds. And, this isn't like an orchestra. We don't have like violins in there. So the noises that are filling up that top end, that higher pitch register, are really fun to pick out in this score because I think it just makes it so dynamic. It's so fun. And here we have the groove at the bottom, and then we have this little siren noise almost at the top. I've mentioned that Doom sounds like it has siren noises in it before. It just sounds like there's this siren rising from the back. It's so cool. The way that it's placed in the mix, it's like you kind of have to like lean in for it a little bit, which I think is a really cool choice too, to have these kind of internal elements. Yeah, and now it's whirring up in that high end even more. I'm really curious. I know that I've heard that there's like chainsaw lawnmower. I'm so curious now what makes each part of these. It feels like there's so many sound design elements or sound designed sounds. Ooh, so we took kind of there was almost this really kind of overpowering noise that was happening during that previous section that made it feel like you were kind of underwater. It's just this like, we would call it wubs, like in the team that I work for, where it just feels like you're sitting in this like moving through like jello almost. It's just like this really all-encompassing kind of pressing in from all sides, then taking that out of the mix suddenly like they just did, gives you this feeling that you can kind of breathe again for a second. It makes it feel like there's air around you suddenly. It gives you this feeling of open space, which is really cool. I love the drops in Doom. They're so fun because they always drop into such a groove too. Ooh, I liked that low hit. really cool. Oh, there's so many cool layers to this that's just keeping pace for you kind of in front of you. But if you listen, there are so many kind of like clangs and little hits that are happening behind it that feel like you're in this kind of, sorry for that really loud knuckle pop. It feels like you're in this really like echoey chamber. It's such a cool texture. But they're hitting back here, right? They're kind of panned around the back. I loved that. That was not how I was expecting that to kind of drop. So much of this too is about like playing with your expectations. So growly. Oh, and such a long, like, reverby tail here. There's that sound design noise again. This is so cool. The dynamic between this feeling of like floating, it almost feels like they're giving you this moment to like feel like you're floating, right? Everything went into the higher register. We had all these reverbs. It was sitting up there kind of whistling almost. And then to drop it from that place feels like you're like being slammed back down into the ground, which is sick. That I was gonna say, it sounded almost like there was like a glass breaking explosion noise. Let's back this up. I want that one more time. Yeah, it's like this, it almost felt like glass was breaking and they reversed the sound. Which can be a really cool effect that's really common again in like sound design. I don't know if there have been vocals in any of the previous tracks I've heard. It's kind of like harmonizing, like high whirring lines as well. I like that they dropped into this groove at the end. Oh, and then it kind of sucks back. That's so cool. That's such a cool track. Meathook, Super Gore Nest, and Cultist Bass, I think are the top 3 most requested Doom ones next. We just did Meathook. Let me know what other Doom tracks you want to hear. I am loving them.